My name is Karen Storm, 37 years old. 12 days before my sister's wedding, my mother posted in the family group chat, "No kids under 16 allowed. We want a real family celebration." My sister Allison instantly replied with a laughing emoji and typed, "Karen's kids make everything too awkward anyway. They don't belong with actual blood." The chat exploded with laughing emojis from aunts and uncles. My 13-year-old daughter was practicing violin in the next room. My 10-year-old son was laughing at cartoons. They called my children not real blood. They laughed while banning them from the wedding. I stared at the screen for 3 seconds, then typed one word: understood. The laughter got even louder. They thought I had finally accepted my place. They were wrong. Before I tell you what happened next, if this story already makes your blood boil, take a second to like the video and subscribe. Only if you genuinely want to hear how far a mother will go when her children are humiliated by their own blood. And while you're here, drop a comment and tell me, have you ever been told your kids don't belong in your own family? Where are you watching from right now? Now, let me take you back and show you how we got here, because what I did next makes no sense unless you understand what my family has been doing to us for the past 13 years. My daughter Hazel is 13. My son Lucas is 10. They've never been to a family Christmas. Never been in a family photo with my parents' side of the family. Never been called by their names by their own grandparents. When my mother talks about them at all, she refers to them as Karen's situation, or, if she's feeling generous, the children. Not grandchildren, the children. For 13 years, my mother has made my family invisible. And for 13 years, I tried to convince myself it was just her personality, just her way of keeping emotional distance, just her being uncomfortable with choices she didn't understand. I was wrong about that too. The group chat that day wasn't just cruel, it was strategic. I didn't understand that yet, sitting at my kitchen table with my phone in my hand while Hazel played Vivaldi in the room above me, and Lucas laughed at some cartoon character falling off a cliff. I just thought, they finally said it out loud. Not real blood. Let me tell you what that means. Let me tell you what they actually believe. My children were born via gestational surrogacy. That means a woman named Melissa carried them for me because my body couldn't do it safely. But Hazel and Lucas are mine. Genetically mine. My eggs. My husband Tyler's sperm. Our DNA. Our children. Melissa was a guardian angel who carried them in her body so I could stay alive to raise them. That's the science. But for 13 years, my mother has let our extended family believe something else entirely. She's let them think my children aren't biologically mine, that they're somehow Melissa's children, that using a surrogate means they're not actual blood relatives. It's scientifically wrong, but my mother has never corrected it. I know this because I've tried to correct it myself. Dozens of times. At Christmas 2014, Uncle Dave asked me directly, "So they're not really your biological kids, right? They're the surrogates." I explained gestational surrogacy. I explained that my eggs were used. I explained the genetic reality. My mother interrupted. "It's complicated medical stuff, Dave. Let's not get into all the technical details at Christmas dinner." Uncle Dave walked away, still believing my children weren't mine. It happened again at Thanksgiving 2015. Aunt Linda said to a group of relatives, "I still think it's strange. Karen having babies, but not actually, you know?" My mother was standing right there. She said nothing. Cousin Janet asked, "Wait, are they genetically hers or the surrogates?" I walked over. I explained. Again. "My eggs, Tyler's sperm, our DNA, the babies are genetically ours. The surrogate just carried them." Aunt Linda frowned. "But she's the one giving birth." "Yes," I said. "But that doesn't change genetics. Hazel has my DNA. Lucas has my DNA. They're my biological children." My mother laughed lightly. Karen gets very particular about the terminology. It's all very scientific. Later that night, I cried in Tyler's arms. She's doing it on purpose, I told him. She's letting them think my kids aren't mine. Why would she do that? Tyler asked. I didn't know. Not then. But I know now. I need to go back further. To 2011. To the day a genetic counselor named Dr. Jennifer Cole sat across from me in a small office that smelled like antiseptic and told me I had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, type 4. I was 22 years old. It's a connective tissue disorder, Dr. Cole explained. She had kind eyes and a steady voice, the kind of voice you use when you're about to tell someone their life just changed. It's caused by a mutation in the COL3A1 gene. It affects your blood vessels, your organs, your skin. And Karen, I need you to understand something very clearly. She slid a piece of paper across the desk. Medical literature, mortality statistics. If you attempt to carry a pregnancy, she said, the maternal mortality rate is 12 to 25%. That means roughly 1 in 4 to 1 in 8 women with your condition die during or shortly after pregnancy. Arterial rupture, uterine rupture, organ failure. These aren't rare complications. They're documented recurring outcomes. I cannot recommend that you ever attempt to carry a child. The room went very quiet. There are alternatives, Dr. Cole continued. Gestational surrogacy, where your eggs are used but another woman carries the pregnancy. Adoption. But your own pregnancy would be life-threatening. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I understood. I called my parents that evening. My father answered. I told him about the diagnosis, about the risks, about what it meant for any future I'd imagined. My mother got on the line. Well, she said after a long pause, that's unfortunate, but you'll figure it out. That was it. That's unfortunate. I didn't hear from them again for 3 weeks. In 2012, I met Tyler. He was a contractor who came to fix my apartment's leaking ceiling. He had steady hands and an easy smile, and by our third date, I knew I had to tell him. We were sitting in a coffee shop. I'd rehearsed the speech 100 times in my head. How to explain that I came with a medical condition that meant biological children would require extraordinary measures. How to explain that if he wanted a traditional family, he should probably walk away now before we both got hurt. I got halfway through the speech before he interrupted me. Stop, he said. Karen, I want you alive. I don't care how we have kids, surrogate, adoption, whatever. But I'm not losing you to pregnancy. So that's not even a question. He proposed 2 months later. December 2012. We started the surrogacy process immediately. Hazel was born in January 2013. A healthy baby girl, 7 pounds 3 ounces, with my eyes and Tyler's stubborn chin and a cry that sounded like music. Melissa, our surrogate, placed her in my arms in the hospital room and smiled. She's perfect, Melissa said. Take good care of her. I will, I promised. People asked me later if it felt different. If I felt like less of a mother because I didn't carry her. The answer is no. The answer has always been no. Every cell of Hazel came from me. The DNA coding for her eye color, her bone structure, her genetic predispositions, all mine. Melissa gave her life by carrying her safely when my body couldn't. But Hazel was mine from the moment of conception. Biologically, genetically, completely. My parents visited us in the hospital. My father held Hazel awkwardly, the way men of his generation hold babies they're afraid of dropping. My mother looked at her granddaughter for a long moment. Well, she said finally, she's beautiful, even though... She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Even though. The comments started small. July 2013, at a family barbecue. My mother mentioned, casually, to a cousin, I just think there's something special about carrying your own child. That bond. But of course, not everyone gets to experience that. I was standing 10 feet away, holding 5-month-old Hazel. Thanksgiving 2013. We would never choose surrogacy. Some things you just do naturally. Christmas 2014. Hazel was almost 2. The family was taking a group photo. My mother organized everyone into rows. Grandchildren in front, she called out. I started to bring Hazel forward. Oh, not her, my mother said quickly. She's fussy. Let's just do the older kids. Hazel was asleep in my arms, perfectly content. Not fussy at all. I didn't bring her forward. Later that night, I looked at the family photo someone posted on Facebook. Grandchildren in the front row. My daughter wasn't in it. The comments continued. At church groups, at family dinners, to anyone who would listen. Karen took the easy way out. It's not the same as carrying your own child. Those babies aren't really, well, you know. And when people asked questions, when they wanted clarification about what surrogacy meant, whether the children were biologically mine, my mother would say, "It's complicated. Let's not get into medical details." By 2015, the narrative was set. My children were not actual blood. They were Karen's surrogate kids. They were proof that I'd avoided real motherhood. None of it was true. All of it stuck. Lucas was born in January 2016. Same surrogate, same process, another healthy baby. This time, a boy with Tyler's nose and my stubborn streak. We had our family, Tyler and me, and 2 beautiful children. We were happy. But we were also increasingly isolated from my parents and their side of the family. Invitations stopped coming. Christmas 2016. We're keeping it small this year. Easter 2017. Just immediate family. Thanksgiving 2018. We don't have space for everyone. But other cousins were there. Other grandchildren. Just not mine. When I asked my mother about it, she had explanations ready. The kids make things chaotic. We want a calm environment. It's easier without little ones running around. Lucas was 2. Hazel was 5. They weren't particularly chaotic. They were just children. But they were my children. And that, apparently, was enough. By 2020, I'd mostly stopped trying. We spent holidays at home. Tyler's parents, warm, loving, completely normal people, became Hazel and Lucas's primary grandparents. We built our own traditions, our own definition of family. I told myself it was fine, that we were better off without my mother's judgment, that the distance was probably healthy. And then, in 2023, at a family dinner I'd reluctantly agreed to attend, my sister Allison made an announcement. She and Nathan were getting married. Spring 2026. Big wedding. Everyone invited. And Nathan and I want to start a family right after the honeymoon, Allison added, glowing. She was 32, successful, in love. We have our whole family plan mapped out. 2 kids, maybe 3. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Allison, I said carefully, have you ever been tested for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? She looked at me blankly. What? No. Why would I? Because I have it, and it's inherited. There's a 50% chance you could have the same gene mutation. If you're planning pregnancy, you should... My mother cut me off. Karen, stop trying to scare your sister. I'm not trying to scare her, I said. I'm trying to make sure she has complete medical information before making... Allison is fine, my mother said firmly. She's never had any symptoms. This isn't about her. This is about you projecting your medical anxiety onto everyone else. Allison laughed nervously. Karen's always been a worrier. I'm healthy. I don't need genetic testing. I looked at my mother. She met my eyes steadily, and something in that look, something defensive, Something almost like panic made me wonder, but I didn't push. Not then. I should have. My father died on December 15th, 2025. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. He'd been diagnosed in June 2024, and the decline was swift and brutal. I went to the hospital the day before he died. He was barely conscious, his body ravaged by disease and morphine. My mother sat beside his bed, holding his hand. I stayed for an hour. My father didn't wake up. When I left, my mother walked me to the elevator. "There's going to be a lot to sort through," she said. "His office, his papers. Would you be willing to help clean it out? Allison's too overwhelmed and I can't face it yet." "Of course," I said. 2 weeks later, on December 28th, I stood in my father's home office with Tyler. Boxes of old tax returns, decades of engineering documents, books he'd never read, a whole life compressed into file cabinets and dusty shelves. "Start with the bookshelf," Tyler suggested. "I'll tackle the desk." I pulled books off the shelves one by one. My father had been an engineer, methodical, organized, everything in its place. Which is why I noticed when one section of the wall behind the bookshelf didn't sit flush. I ran my fingers along the edge, felt a seam, pushed. A small panel swung open. Behind it, a safe. "Tyler," I said, "look at this." He came over, looked at the safe. "Did your mom mention this?" "No." "Do you know the combination?" "I tried my father's birthday." "Nothing." "My mother's birthday." "Nothing." Then, on impulse, I tried my own. 08, 15, 88. August 15th, 1988. The birthday my father had never remembered without my mother reminding him. The safe clicked open. Inside was a manila folder labeled in my father's handwriting, "Allison, Medical, Confidential, 2013. My hands shook as I pulled it out. The first page was genetic test results. Patient, Allison Marie Storm. Date of test, June 22nd, 2013. Test, COL3, A1, gene sequencing. Result, positive for pathogenic variant. I stopped breathing. Read it again. Positive. The same mutation I had. The same gene. The same condition that made pregnancy a death sentence. Allison had been tested. In June 2013, 5 months after Hazel was born. My parents knew. I flipped through the folder with shaking hands. Letters from Dr. Andrew Stevens at Pacific Northwest Genetics, appointment reminders, follow-up requests, all dated summer 2013, all unanswered. "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Storm, we attempted to reach you by phone regarding Allison's test results. It is critical that Allison meet with a genetic counselor to discuss the implications of her diagnosis. Please call our office at your earliest convenience." Another letter. "We have not heard from you regarding Allison's genetic test results. Please be advised that Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 4 carries significant reproductive risks. Allison should not attempt pregnancy without full consultation with maternal fetal medicine specialists." They never responded. They never scheduled the follow-up. They never told Allison. At the bottom of the folder was a handwritten note from my father, dated June 2013. "Can't tell her. It will destroy her future. Karen already made her sacrifice. We have to protect Allison differently. No one can know. Especially not Karen. She'd tell Allison immediately." I sat down hard on my father's desk chair. Tyler was reading over my shoulder. "Oh my God," he whispered. "They knew," I said. My voice sounded far away. "They tested her right after Hazel was born. They got the results. And they never told her." "Why?" I kept looking through the folder. Found printed emails between my mother and father. Dated 2013 through 2015. From my mother, August 2013. "Larry, we did the right thing. Karen made her choice. Allison deserves a different path. We can't burden her with this now. She's 19. She has her whole life ahead of her. We'll tell her when the time is right. From my father, November 2013. But what if she tries to conceive before we tell her? From my mother, November 2013. She won't. She's focused on her education. We have time. More emails. Years of them. The time to tell Allison was always later. Always after the next milestone. After graduation. After she got established in her career. After she found the right partner. And then I found an email from my mother to my father dated August 2025, 4 months before he died. Allison mentioned she wants to get pregnant right after the wedding. We need to tell her before then. My father's response: I'll tell her after the wedding. I can't ruin this for her. She's so happy. He died in December, 4 months before the wedding, without telling her. And my mother who wrote that email, who knew Allison was planning pregnancy, never said a word. There was one more document in the folder, an envelope marked "To Allison," unsealed. Inside was a letter in my father's handwriting, dated July 2024, 6 months before he died. I opened it. My dearest Allison, I need to confess something I've hidden for 11 years. You have the same genetic condition as Karen, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 4. We tested you in June 2013, when you were 19. Your results came back positive. Your mother and I received those results and we chose not to tell you. We told ourselves we were protecting you, that you were too young, that you had time, that we would tell you when you were ready to have children. But the truth is, we were cowards. We were afraid. Afraid of how you'd react. Afraid of the burden it would place on you. Afraid you'd be angry that we'd waited so long. Allison, if you try to get pregnant without knowing you have this condition, you could die. The maternal mortality rate is 12 to 25%. That's 1 in 4 to 1 in 8 women. Arterial rupture, uterine rupture, organ failure. I'm writing this because I know you and Nathan are getting serious. I know you want children. And I need you to know the truth before you make any decisions about how to build your family. Karen made the choice to use a surrogate. We have not been kind to her about that choice. We've made her feel ashamed. We've excluded her children. We did that because, and I am so ashamed to admit this, because if we made surrogacy seem shameful, no one would ask why you weren't being tested too. We turned Karen into a cautionary tale so you could remain untouched. We were wrong, catastrophically wrong. Please forgive me. Please see Dr. Stevens at Pacific Northwest Genetics. Please get proper genetic counseling before you try to conceive. Please don't make the same mistakes I did. I love you. I'm sorry. Dad. The letter was dated July 2024. He died in December 2025, 5 months ago. He never sent it. I sat in that office with my father's confession in my hands and I finally understood. Everything. The shaming, the exclusion, the not actual blood lie, making me look paranoid and overcautious and too focused on medical anxiety. If I looked crazy, no one would listen when I suggested Allison get tested. If my surrogacy choice looked shameful, no one would wonder why Allison wasn't considering the same option. If my children were not real family, no one would ask the obvious question: if Karen has this condition and it's genetic, shouldn't Allison be tested too? They'd sacrificed me and my children for 12 years to protect a lie. And Allison, my sister, who was getting married in 3 months, who wanted to start trying for a baby on her honeymoon, had no idea she was walking into danger. Tyler was very quiet. Then he said, "You have to tell her." I know. Tonight. Right now. I know. But when I called my mother that evening and told her I'd found the safe, told her I knew about Allison's test results, she didn't break down. She didn't apologize. She threatened me. Your father and I made a decision to protect your sister, she said. Her voice was steel. If you tell Allison about this before her wedding, if you ruin the happiest time of her life with your medical paranoia, I will make sure the entire family knows you did it out of jealousy. I will tell them you've always resented Allison, that you couldn't stand to see her happy. And no one will believe you, Karen, because I've spent 13 years establishing that you overreact to medical issues, that you make everything about your condition. No one will take your side. She's planning to get pregnant, I said. She could die. Plenty of women with medical conditions have healthy pregnancies. Not with this condition. The mortality rate. Allison is stronger than you, my mother said. She might be fine. Might? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're willing to gamble with her life based on might? This conversation is over, my mother said. If you say one word to Allison or Nathan, you'll regret it. I mean that. She hung up. I stood there with the phone in my hand, shaking with anger and disbelief. Tyler put his arms around me. She's not going to tell her, he said. Even now. Even knowing Allison's about to try to get pregnant. She's not going to tell her. No, I agreed. She's not. So what do you do? I didn't know yet. But I knew the direct approach wouldn't work. My mother had made that very clear. On February 2nd, I tried anyway. I sent Allison an email. Subject line: important medical question. Allison, I know you and Nathan are planning to start a family soon. I wanted to reach out because there's something important I need to make sure you're aware of. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome has a 50% inheritance rate. Since I have it, and it came from Dad's side, there's a significant chance you could have inherited the same gene mutation. If you have it and attempt pregnancy without knowing, the maternal mortality rate is extremely high. I'm not trying to scare you. I just want you to have complete information. Please consider genetic testing before trying to conceive. If you test positive, there are safe alternatives like the surrogacy I used. I'm happy to talk anytime. I love you. Karen. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. 10 minutes later, Allison forwarded the email to our mother. The next day, my mother called. Stop harassing your sister with your paranoia. She's healthy. She doesn't need genetic testing. And if you send her one more email like that, I'm going to tell the family you're trying to sabotage her wedding because you're jealous. On February 10th, Allison called me directly. Mom said you're trying to freak me out about pregnancy. Karen, I'm fine. I've never had any symptoms of anything. Can you please just let me enjoy my engagement without all this medical anxiety? Allison, I'm not trying to scare you. I just want you to be safe. I appreciate it, she said in a tone that meant she didn't. But I'm good. Let's just focus on the wedding, okay? I tried one more time on March 1st, at the bridesmaid brunch, in front of other people, hoping witnesses would make my mother behave. I brought up genetic counseling again, gently, carefully. My mother cut me off. Karen, enough. This is a wedding celebration, not a medical seminar. Can you please stop making everything about your health anxiety? The other bridesmaids looked uncomfortable. I felt my face burn. After the brunch, my mother pulled me aside in the parking lot. One more medical comment and you're out of the wedding party. 4 days later, I got a text. Hi, Karen. We've decided to keep the wedding party smaller and more intimate. You're no longer needed as a bridesmaid. You can still attend as a guest. Hope you understand. XO. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I showed it to Tyler. She's cutting you out, he said quietly. Because I tried to save Allison's life. What are you going to do? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. Not yet. On March 10th, 12 days before the wedding, I woke up to a notification from the family group chat. My mother had posted, "Quick update, everyone. No kids under 16 allowed at the wedding. We want a real family celebration." I sat at the kitchen table reading that message. Hazel was 13. Lucas was 10. This wasn't about wedding logistics. This was about my children specifically. Someone in the chat asked, "What about the younger cousins?" My mother replied, "Different circumstances." And then Allison's message came through. "Karen's kids make everything too awkward anyway. They don't belong with actual blood." Laughing emoji. Then another one. The chat exploded. Uncle Dave, Cousin Lisa, Aunt Janet. They were laughing. At my children. About excluding my children. About calling them not actual blood. From the room above me, I could hear Hazel practicing violin. Vivaldi. She'd been working on it for weeks. From the living room, Lucas was laughing at cartoons. Normal 13-year-old and 10-year-old sounds. Happy sounds. They called my children not real blood. They laughed while banning them from the wedding. I looked at my phone, at those yellow laughing faces, at my sister's words. My 13-year-old daughter was practicing violin in the next room. My 10-year-old son was laughing at cartoons. I typed one word, understood. The laughter got even louder in the chat. "Finally, she gets it," my mother wrote. "Wow, that was easier than expected," Uncle Dave added. "About time," someone else chimed in. Allison sent a smiling emoji. "Thanks for being mature about this, sis." They thought I'd finally accepted my place. They thought I was broken, compliant, defeated. I stood up from the kitchen table, walked to my home office, opened my laptop. I'd been carrying a name in my head for 2 weeks, an email address I'd looked up on the Seattle Medical Center website and memorized just in case. Nathan.Pierce.MD at Seattle Medical. Org Dr. Nathan Pierce, orthopedic surgeon, my sister's fiancé, the man she was planning to marry in 12 days, the man she wanted to get pregnant with in 14 days. I opened my email, started typing. Subject: medical information you need before marrying Allison Storm Dr. Pierce. You don't know me well, but I'm Karen Storm Barnes, Allison's older sister. I'm writing to you as one healthcare professional to another. I work in healthcare administration, and more importantly, as someone who needs to prevent a potential tragedy. I have a genetic condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, type 4, vascular type. It's caused by a COL3A1 gene mutation. I was diagnosed in 2011. Because of this condition, I cannot safely carry a pregnancy. Maternal mortality rate is 12 to 25%. This is why my children were born via gestational surrogacy. What you don't know, what Allison doesn't know, is that in June 2013, Allison was tested for the same genetic mutation. She tested positive. My parents received the results and chose to hide them from her. They never told her she has the same life-threatening condition I have. I found the proof 3 months ago when my father died. I've tried to tell my mother. I've tried to tell Allison. I've been shut down, accused of jealousy, removed from the wedding party. And now my children have been excluded from your wedding because I make things awkward. I'm attaching. 1. Allison's genetic test results from June 2013, positive for COL3A1 mutation. 2. Medical correspondence between the lab and my father. 3. My father's unsent confession letter. 4. Current medical literature on EDS type 4 pregnancy, risks. 5. My own test results for comparison. 6. Side-by-side analysis showing both mutations are identical. Allison told me 2 weeks ago that you're planning to start trying for a baby immediately after your honeymoon. If she gets pregnant without knowing she has this condition, there is a very real chance she will die. Arterial rupture, uterine rupture, organ failure. These are not hypothetical risks. They are documented outcomes for women with vascular EDS. You are an orthopedic surgeon. You understand connective tissue disorders. You understand mortality statistics. You understand informed consent. I am not trying to ruin your wedding. I am trying to save my sister's life. She needs to see a genetic counselor before she tries to conceive. There are safe alternatives. The same gestational surrogacy I used, or adoption. But she needs to know she has this condition before she makes any reproductive decisions. My parents excluded me and my children from your wedding because we are living proof that the shameful alternative, surrogacy, is actually the safe choice. They've spent 13 years making my family seem awkward and not real blood, so no one would ask why Allison wasn't tested. I'm sending you this because you have the medical training to understand what I'm showing you, and because you have the ethical obligation to ensure your future wife has complete medical information before making life or death decisions about her body. The wedding is in 12 days. I don't know what you'll do with this information, but I know I couldn't live with myself if I stayed silent and something happened to her. Please verify everything I've sent you with Dr. Andrew Stevens at Pacific Northwest Genetics. He was the doctor who performed Allison's original test. I hope you'll make the right choice. Karen Storm Barnes. I attached the files, all 6 of them, test results, medical correspondence, my father's confession, medical literature, comparison data. My cursor hovered over the send button. In the family group chat, they were still laughing, still celebrating how easily I'd accepted being put in my place. I thought about Hazel upstairs, practicing her violin, about Lucas in the living room, laughing at cartoons, about 13 years of them being called not real family, about my mother's voice on the phone. If you say one word, you'll regret it. About Allison, planning to get pregnant, planning to risk her life without even knowing it, because our parents would rather let her die than admit they'd lied for 12 years. I hit send. The email whooshed into the void. March 10th, 2026, 4:18 p.m. I closed my laptop, walked back to the kitchen, poured a glass of water. In the group chat, they were still laughing. They had no idea what had just left my outbox. For 24 hours, there was nothing. No response from Nathan. No angry calls from Allison. No threats from my mother. Just silence. I went through the motions of my day. Made breakfast, drove Hazel to school, picked up Lucas from soccer practice, made dinner, helped with homework. Normal life, while my heart hammered and my phone stayed quiet. Tyler kept looking at me. You okay? I don't know, I admitted. What if he doesn't believe me? What if he shows Allison and they both think I forged the documents? What if the wedding goes forward anyway and... Stop, Tyler said gently. You have medical records from a licensed physician. You have your father's handwritten confession. You have documented proof. Nathan's a surgeon. He understands evidence. But what if... Karen, you did what you could. The rest is up to him. I nodded. But I couldn't sleep that night. At 2:30 in the morning, I checked my email. Read receipt. Nathan had opened the email at 5:42 p.m. the previous day. He'd seen it, but he hadn't responded. At 3:47 a.m., a new email appeared in my inbox from Dr. Andrew Stevens, the geneticist who'd tested Allison in 2013. He'd been CC'd on my email to Nathan. Dr. Pierce, I am writing to confirm the accuracy of the information provided by Karen Storm Barnes. I was the attending physician who ordered and interpreted Allison Storm's genetic testing in June 2013. Patient tested positive for a pathogenic variant in the COL3A1 gene, consistent with vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I attempted to contact the family multiple times to schedule genetic counseling. My calls and letters went unanswered. If Ms. Storm is planning to attempt pregnancy without knowledge of this diagnosis, I must strongly advise immediate consultation with maternal fetal medicine specialists. The pregnancy risks associated with vascular EDS are severe and well documented. I am available to discuss this case at your earliest convenience. He included his direct phone number. Third-party verification from the original doctor. Independent confirmation that I was telling the truth. I sat in the bathroom with my phone, crying silently so I wouldn't wake Tyler or the kids. Someone besides me was finally confirming the truth. At 7:15 that morning, my phone rang. Seattle area code, unknown number. I stared at it for 3 rings before answering. Hello? Karen, this is Nathan Pierce, Allison's fiancé. Do you have a few minutes to talk? His voice was calm, clinical, not angry. I couldn't read it. Yes, I said. Of course. I'm calling about the email you sent yesterday. I've spent the last 24 hours reviewing everything you attached. I've also spoken with Dr. Stevens, who confirmed the test results are authentic. I've consulted with a colleague in maternal fetal medicine, and I've spent several hours reading medical literature on vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and pregnancy outcomes. I waited, held my breath. I need to ask you some questions, Nathan continued, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Does Allison know she was tested? No. Does she know the results? No. Did your parents ever tell her? No. Have you tried to tell her? Yes, multiple times. January 15th, I confronted my mother. She threatened me. February 2nd, I emailed Allison directly. My mother intercepted and called me paranoid. February 10th, Allison dismissed my concerns. March 1st, I tried again at the bridesmaid brunch. I was removed from the wedding party. March 10th, my children were banned from the wedding. That's when I sent you the email. So you tried 4 separate times to warn your family before contacting me. Yes. And your mother knows Allison has this condition? Yes. She and my father have known since 2013. There was a long pause. I could hear Nathan typing. 12 years, he said finally. They've known for 12 years that Allison has a life-threatening reproductive condition, and they never told her. Yes. Another pause. I need to know, Nathan said carefully. Is there any chance these documents are falsified? I have to ask. Is this possibly a family dispute where someone might have... Call Dr. Stevens, I interrupted. I included his contact information. Call the lab that ran the test, LabCorp Seattle. Request confirmation with Allison's date of birth and social security number. You'll need her permission for that, but the test exists in their system. Call my genetic counselor, Dr. Jennifer Cole, and ask about vascular EDS pregnancy outcomes. Look up the maternal mortality statistics. I attached peer-reviewed studies. I don't want you to trust me, Nathan. I want you to verify. Because when you sit down with Allison, she's going to think I'm lying. She's going to think I forged these documents out of jealousy. And you need to be able to tell her, no, I verified everything independently. Your sister is telling the truth. Silence. Then, I already called Dr. Stevens this morning. He confirmed everything. And I've reviewed the medical literature. Karen, the mortality statistics for vascular EDS pregnancy they're catastrophic. 12 to 25% maternal mortality. This isn't a manageable risk. This is Russian roulette. Relief flooded through me so hard I had to sit down. That's why I used a surrogate, I said quietly. And that's what Allison will need to do if she wants biological children, Nathan said. Surrogacy, not pregnancy. Yes. I need to talk to Allison tonight, before she hears this from anyone else. I have all the documents you sent. I have Dr. Stevens on standby. He's willing to speak with her by phone to confirm. I've already scheduled an emergency appointment with a genetic counselor tomorrow morning at 9. Nathan, the wedding isn't happening on March 22nd. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry. Don't apologize, he said firmly. Allison can be angry at you. She can be angry at me. She can be angry at her parents. But she'll be alive to be angry. That's what matters. I was crying again, trying to keep my voice steady. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for having the courage to send that email, Nathan said. I know what it cost you. Your family already excluded you. You knew sending this would make things worse, but you did it anyway to save your sister's life. That took guts. It was the only option left. One more thing, Nathan said. Your mother. When Allison finds out, she's going to call your mother, and your mother is going to try to spin this. Do you have any advice on how I should handle that? I thought about my mother's voice, the threats, the gaslighting, 12 years of lies. She's going to say I'm lying, I told Nathan. She'll say I forged the documents. She'll say I'm jealous. She'll say I've always tried to sabotage Allison. She'll cry. She'll play victim. She'll say she was protecting Allison from unnecessary fear. She'll minimize the risk. She'll say Allison is stronger than me and might be fine. Don't believe her. Stick to medical facts. Stick to Dr. Stevens' confirmation. Stick to the literature. Don't let her make this emotional. Understood, Nathan said. I'm a surgeon. I deal in evidence. Your mother can't gaslight medical records. Good. I'll call you after I talk to Allison. This is going to get messy. I know. But it's the right thing. You know that, right? My voice broke. I hope so. It is, Nathan said. I promise you it is. He hung up. I sat on the bathroom floor and cried until Tyler found me and held me while I shook. He believes you, Tyler said. He believes me. He's going to tell her. Tonight. It's going to be okay. I wanted to believe that. I really did. Nathan called Allison at 8:30 that evening. I wasn't there. I didn't hear what was said. I only learned the details later, pieced together from multiple phone calls and one very long conversation with my sister 3 days after everything exploded. But this is what happened. Nathan showed up at Allison's apartment with printed copies of everything I'd sent him. He sat her down, told her he'd received some medical information he needed to discuss, showed her the documents. Allison laughed at first. This is fake. Karen made this up. Nathan, I called the doctor who performed your test, Dr. Andrew Stevens. He confirmed everything. Allison stopped laughing. What test? I never had a genetic test. Nathan, June 2013. You were 19. Your father requested it after Karen was diagnosed. Allison, no, that didn't happen. I would remember. Nathan showed her the lab results. Her name, her birthday, her social security number. This is real, he said quietly. Allison called my mother, put her on speaker. Mom, Nathan is saying I have Karen's condition. Tell him it's not true. 45 minutes later, my mother arrived at Allison's apartment. She tried every defense. I don't know what Karen told you, but she's not well. We were planning to tell Allison after the wedding. The risk isn't as bad as Karen makes it sound. Nathan countered with medical literature, with mortality statistics, with Dr. Stevens' confirmation. Every excuse fell apart. And then Allison asked the question that changed everything. Mom, when exactly were you planning to tell me? The wedding is in 11 days. Our honeymoon is 2 weeks away. We're starting folic acid supplements. We're preparing to try for a baby next month. When? When were you going to tell me? My mother went silent. You've had 3 months since Dad died, Allison continued. Her voice was shaking. You sent me that email in August saying we needed to tell me before the wedding. Dad said he'd tell me after. He died in December. It's March. When were you going to tell me, Mom? No answer. Were you going to let me get pregnant without knowing? Still no answer. Were you going to let me die? Nathan told me later that was the moment my mother's face crumpled. But she didn't admit fault. She pivoted. We were trying to give you a normal life. We didn't want you to live in fear like Karen does. Nathan's response was ice cold. Karen doesn't live in fear. She made an informed choice. She used a surrogate. She has 2 healthy children and she's alive. That's not fear. That's wisdom. And Allison deserves the same opportunity to make an informed choice about her own body. The argument continued for 2 more hours. My mother tried everything. Minimization. Lots of women with conditions have healthy pregnancies. Nathan shut it down with statistics. Deflection. This is Karen's fault for sending those documents. Nathan. Karen tried to tell you directly multiple times. You shut her down. Victimhood. We did what we thought was best. Nathan. You endangered your daughter's life to avoid admitting you made a mistake 12 years ago. Finally, Allison said the words that ended it. Get out. Get out of my apartment. My mother left. Nathan stayed. And at 11:52 p.m., my phone rang. Karen? Allison's voice was wrecked, raw from crying. I'm here, I said. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You don't have to. I do. I didn't believe you. I thought you were paranoid. I laughed at your kids. I called them awkward. I said they weren't real blood. Oh God, Karen, I'm so sorry. Allison, they knew. Mom and Dad knew for 12 years, and they let me plan to get pregnant. They would have let me die rather than admit they lied. I know. You tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. You didn't know. I should have listened. She was sobbing now. You were trying to save my life, and I called you paranoid. And your kids, Hazel and Lucas, I was so cruel to them. They're my niece and nephew. They're family. Real family. And I treated them like they didn't matter. They'll forgive you, I said. Kids forgive easily. Can I see you? Tomorrow? I need to. I have so much to ask you. About the testing, about surrogacy, about how you survived 13 years of them treating you like that. Of course, I said. We can meet wherever you want. Thank you, Allison whispered. Thank you for sending that email, even though you knew it would make everything worse for you. You saved my life. You're my sister, I said. I love you. Even when you're cruel, even when you don't believe me, I still love you. She cried harder. We talked for another hour. About genetics, about surrogacy, about our parents, about how the wedding was being postponed indefinitely, about how scared she was, how angry, how betrayed. And when we finally hung up, I sat in the dark in my kitchen and felt something I hadn't felt in 13 years. Relief. The next 3 days were chaos. The wedding was supposed to happen in 10 days. 185 people had been invited. Venues were booked. Deposits paid. Dresses fitted. Flowers ordered. All of it had to be unwound. Nathan's parents helped. They were wealthy, generous people who immediately understood the gravity of what had happened. Nathan's mother, Eleanor, called my mother, and from what I heard, that conversation was brutal. Patricia. Nathan told me everything. He spoke with a geneticist. He verified the test results. Your daughter has a life-threatening condition you hid from her for 12 years. And now you're trying to make Karen look like the villain? It won't work. Some of my extended family started calling, confused, concerned. What happened? Why is the wedding postponed? Your mom is saying you sent fake documents to Nathan to sabotage things. I told them to call Dr. Stevens, gave them his number. Verify it yourself. Some did. Some believed my mother without checking. The family fractured down the middle. Cousin Janet texted me, Karen, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. I thought your mom was telling the truth about you being paranoid. I should have asked you directly. Can you forgive me? I wrote back, of course. Uncle Steve, my mother's brother, called. I always knew my sister was controlling. I didn't know she was dangerous. I'm sorry for what she put you through. but others sided with my mother. Cousin Dave. This is tearing the family apart. Couldn't you have handled this privately? I responded, I tried privately for 3 months. No one listened. Allison's life was in danger. I did what I had to do. And through it all, my mother posted on social media a carefully worded statement. Sometimes families face difficult situations. Lies and betrayal from within hurt most of all. Praying for healing. Allison saw it, called our mother. Take it down. You're the liar here, not Karen. My mother refused. Allison blocked her. On Facebook, on her phone, email, complete cutoff. On March 15th, Allison met with the genetic counselor. On March 18th, she saw a maternal fetal medicine specialist. Both confirmed what Nathan had already told her. Pregnancy would be high risk. Surrogacy was strongly recommended. On March 16th, Allison asked if we could meet for coffee. We sat across from each other in a small cafe, two sisters who'd barely spoken in years. The doctor said if I got pregnant, there's a 22% chance I'd die, Allison said. She looked exhausted. 22%? Karen, that's 1 in 5. I know. You lived with that knowledge for 15 years, and you still built a family. And I called your children not real blood. She shook her head. Nathan explained gestational surrogacy to me. I didn't understand. I don't even know what I thought. Mom made it sound like they weren't yours. Like they were someone else's kids that you were raising. She did that on purpose, I said. I know. Nathan made that very clear during the fight. Allison wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. He told Mom that you've been trying to correct the record for 13 years, that you've explained gestational surrogacy dozens of times, and she always dismissed it or changed the subject. She let everyone believe your kids weren't biologically yours, so no one would ask if I should be tested. That's exactly what she did. I need to apologize to Hazel and Lucas, Allison said. I don't even know where to start. I said terrible things. I laughed when they were excluded. They're 13 and 10. They're kids. What do I even say? You say, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I want to be your aunt now, if you'll let me. Will they forgive me? Kids forgive easily when adults apologize sincerely, I said. The question is, can you commit to showing up for them? Not just once, consistently. Yes, Allison said. I promise, I will. We talked for 2 hours about the surrogacy process, about how to tell Nathan's family, about when to reschedule the wedding, maybe fall, maybe next year, about grief, about anger, about the 12 years our parents stole from both of us. Can I ask you something? Allison said finally. It's going to sound awful. Ask. Did you send that email to Nathan because you wanted revenge, or because you wanted to save me? I considered the question. Decided on honesty. Both, I said. I wanted to save your life. That was the main reason. But seeing you laugh at my children in that group chat, that made it easier to hit send. If you'd been kind to Hazel and Lucas, I might have tried talking to you one more time. But you laughed, and I realized, I'm done protecting people who hurt my family. I'll save you, but I won't save Mom's pride. Allison nodded slowly. That's fair. That's more grace than I deserved. You saved me even though I'd hurt you. You're my sister. I love you. I'm going to make this right, she said. With you. With Hazel and Lucas, I promise. March 22nd came and went. The day that was supposed to be Allison's wedding. Instead, Tyler and I took Hazel and Lucas to the Oregon coast for the weekend. We walked on the beach, built sandcastles, flew a kite. Normal family things. Allison texted me that afternoon. Today was supposed to be my wedding day. Instead, I'm meeting with a surrogacy coordinator. I should be sad, but I'm just grateful. Grateful I'm alive. Grateful I know the truth. Grateful you loved me enough to risk everything. Thank you, Karen. I wrote back. I'd do it again. Every time. Love you, sis. That evening, we sat on the beach and watched the sunset. Hazel leaned against my shoulder. Mom, she said quietly, why did Grandma Pat say we weren't real family? Lucas looked up from the sandcastle he was building. I took a breath, chose my words carefully. Grandma was ashamed that I used a surrogate to have you. She thought it made me look weak. But I'm not weak. I'm alive. And you're here because I chose survival over pride. That's not shameful. That's smart. And Grandma said you weren't real blood because she wanted people to think you weren't mine biologically. But you are. You're my genetic children. Your DNA is mine. A surrogate just carried you safely because my body couldn't. That doesn't make you any less mine. But why would she want people to think we weren't yours? Hazel asked. Because she was hiding a secret about your Aunt Allison, I said. And she made my choice look bad so no one would ask the right questions. Lucas frowned. That's mean. It was, I agreed. Very mean. Are we going to see Grandma Pat again? Hazel asked. I don't know. Maybe not. And that's sad. But some people can't admit when they're wrong. And I can't let someone who hurts you stay in your life, even if she's family. I'm glad you're my mom, Hazel said. Even if Grandma doesn't think you're a real mom, you're real to me. I hugged her tight. Tyler put his arm around all of us. The sun set over the Pacific. The waves crashed. My family was safe. In early April, Allison started the surrogacy process. She asked for my advice, for referrals, for support. I gave all of it gladly. We had lunch twice that month, started rebuilding what 13 years of our mother's lies had broken. Nathan joined us once, thanked me again for the email. You gave us both the gift of truth, he said. We can handle the truth. We couldn't handle the lies. One afternoon in mid-April, Allison asked if she could meet Hazel and Lucas. We met at an ice cream shop. Allison was nervous. I was supportive. The kids were cautious but curious. Before we talk about anything fun, Allison said to them, I need to say something important. I owe you both an apology. I said some really hurtful things about you in a text message. I said you weren't real blood and that you didn't belong at my wedding. That was wrong. You are my real family. You're my niece and nephew. And I'm so sorry I didn't treat you that way. Hazel, 13 years old and too wise for her age, said, Mom showed us the text, with the laughing emoji. Allison winced. I know. I'm so sorry. Lucas, direct and practical, asked, Why did you think we weren't related? We look like Mom. I didn't understand how surrogacy works, Allison explained. Your mom's eggs were used, but another woman, a surrogate, carried you to keep your mom safe. That woman was like a guardian angel. But you were always your mom's children, biologically. I should have known that. I should have asked. Instead, I believed something false and I hurt you. I'm really sorry. Are you going to use a surrogate too? Hazel asked. For your babies? Yes. I have the same medical condition your mom has. So I'll do what she did. So your kids will be like us? Exactly like you. And I hope they're half as wonderful. Hazel smiled. Just a little. That's cool, I guess. Lucas said, Can you come to my soccer game Saturday? I would love to. Okay. We're the blue team. Just like that. Kids forgive. After ice cream, walking back to our cars, Hazel said to me, I like Aunt Allison better now. She said sorry, and she meant it. She did. I agreed. People can change when they learn the truth. My mother sent one email in late March. Karen, I don't know what you thought you'd accomplish by sending those documents to Nathan. You've destroyed your sister's wedding. You've turned the family against me. You've always been jealous of Allison, jealous of her beauty, her success, her happiness. Now you've ruined the happiest day of her life. I hope you're satisfied. You've gotten what you always wanted. Attention. But at what cost? This family will never recover. And that's on you. Mom, I read it once. Then I deleted it. Tyler asked, Aren't you going to respond? No, she's not ready to hear the truth. Maybe she never will be. That's not my problem anymore. You're really done? I spent 13 years trying to earn her approval. I'm done. I don't need it anymore. And I meant it. By late April, life had settled into a new normal. Allison and Nathan rescheduled their wedding for October. Small, intimate, immediate family only. I want Hazel to be a junior bridesmaid, Allison told me, and Lucas to be a ring bearer, if they want to. They'd love that, I said. They deserve to be there. Their family. Real family. My mother tried to contact Allison a few times. Allison didn't respond. Eventually, my mother stopped trying. Some extended family members apologized to me. Some didn't. Some cut off my mother entirely. Some stayed neutral. The family tree had fractured, but I'd learned something important. A fractured family tree is better than a poisoned one. One evening in early May, we had dinner at home. Tyler cooked. Hazel set the table. Lucas helped. I stood in the kitchen doorway watching them. My family, built on truth, built on choice, built on love. Hazel saw me watching and smiled. What? Nothing. Just thinking. About what? About how lucky I am. Lucas rolled his eyes the way 10-year-olds do. You're being sappy again, Mom. I'm allowed, I said. After dinner, after the dishes were done, after the kids went upstairs to do homework, Tyler and I sat together on the couch. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I'm good. No regrets about the email? None. Allison's alive. My kids know they're loved. We have peace. That's all I ever wanted. He kissed my forehead. I looked around our living room. At the family photo on the wall. Just the four of us. At Hazel's science fair trophy on the shelf. At Lucas's soccer medal on the fridge. At the life we'd built when the people who were supposed to love us tried to tear us down. My children were never awkward. They were never not real family. They were never anything less than perfect exactly as they were. They were the realest thing I ever fought for. And I'd fight for them again. Every single time. My name is Karen Storm. I'm 37 years old. I have 2 children born via surrogate because I have a genetic condition that makes pregnancy fatal. For 13 years, my family shamed that choice. They made my children invisible. They spread lies about biology and blood and belonging. And when my sister's life was in danger from the same condition, when my parents chose lies over her safety, I made a choice too. I chose truth. I chose my sister's survival. I chose my children's dignity. I sent an email that destroyed a wedding and fractured a family and ended a 13-year campaign of lies and exclusion. And I'd do it again. Because some things are worth fighting for. Some truths are worth telling. Some boundaries are worth setting. My children are worth protecting. My sister is worth saving. My own dignity is worth reclaiming. I typed one word, understood, and let my family think I'd finally accepted my place. They were wrong. I understood perfectly. I understood that I was done. And what happened next changed everything.